important topic, very critical. See, today, at the dawn of the fifth industrial revolution, yes, we are at the dawn of the fifth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is over. And gradually, we are moving towards what we call a fully connected and intelligent world, where everything will be connected, everything will be sensing, and everything will be intelligent. According to IDC, the AI adoption rate is moving very fast with leaps and bounds. In 2021, IDC predicted that 7% of global industry have adopted AI, 7%. Now, moving forward, by 2026, it's going to be 30%. It's going to be more than 5 times bigger, the evolution. And by 2030, which is just 5 years away from now, 90% of industries will adopt AI. So AI will be at the core of industrial productivity, industrial efficiency. It's going to be the new era of industrialization. So what you see from this screen is AI today is being adopted in industries like logistics. These were the first industry to adopt AI and automation for goods dispatching. Then we move into government, the smart government. You have heard of cases like Estonia or Singapore, where today, with the help of AI, they are improving efficiency in terms of government service delivery, smart manufacturing, electricity, smart retail, smart customer services. When you call a hotline today, chances are 99.5% are AI will pick up your call. You will be conversing with AI, whether you know it or you don't know it. In smart healthcare, we have seen those applications today. And most importantly, what we've realized is today, AI and cloud has become national strategy. Nations around the world are including AI into their strategy. When we look at Singapore, for example, with the e-government, they set a target to reach the EGDI, which is E-Government Development Index, for 0.79. But the implication of AI in the Singaporean government has increased their EGDI to 0.969, which is the world highest EGDI score so far. When you look at China, they have set the strategy for the contribution of digital economy to reach 71% of the global GDP by 2030. And this will only be done by implication of AI into the digital economy. In Brazil, they use AI strategy or cloud strategy to improve the healthcare, what they call universal healthcare. So implication of AI, adoption of AI and cloud has become national strategy. And something very impressive, I'm sure you have heard of it, just recently, China released a strategy that is called AIPMC. I'm not sure if you have heard of it. AIPMC stands for AI Public Model Center. So what is AI Public Model Center? The concept from China is to make AI infrastructure, AI platforms, AI tools available publicly, free of cost. Means that China will build massive AI computing center through cloud, through data centers. They will put it all the resources, and everyone, every industry in China will now use these resources, which is publicly available, for free or with a minimal cost to deploy, to develop AI for each and every industry. We can see that with the advent of DeepSeek. How many of you know DeepSeek? I see many hands. How many of you have used it? Many hands again. It's open source, which means it's available for everyone. You can have a DeepSeek source code. load it in your computer or on your cloud, and you do what we call secondary training with DeepSeek data. So this is the direction that China is going. AI open source, AI public model center to catalyze the usage of AI. Well, I have just selected some AI application. Most of the times when we talk about AI, people tend to understand AI as a large language model only, the like of ChatGPT, the like of DeepSeek, or Llama, or whatsoever. But yes, they are AI-based, but these are just one type of model. Beside the large language model, we have other models, like computer visions, and so on and so forth. But we can use AI in many industries. Like what we see on the screen is the AI in teaching and learning. How AI is being used for teachers to help them prepare lectures, to help them deliver their lessons to students, and also to help them do evaluations and reporting. This dramatically improve the learning and teaching quality, teaching ability, and also it relieves some burden on teachers when it comes to administrative work. Teachers spend more than 40% of their time just to do some administrative work. So AI can help reduce this kind of a burden. The second important case is the application of AI on government services, for example. We have seen in countries like Iran where AI is adopted to serve as a virtual human when it comes to service delivery. In Spain, we deploy one system in library, AI-based, that helps identify books very quickly, more than 300% faster than human. In China, we have what we call smart government platform, which uses AI to help predict some events like crowd accumulations, some natural disasters, and this helps government to improve their governance, service delivery to their citizens. How about agriculture, which is one of the key economic activities in this province? We can use AI to improve our productions, to control our crops, to control our livestock. This, for example, is a case that we deploy in Brazil, what they call agriculture 4.0, where the use of 5G technology, AI, drones, were able to detect weeds accurately, almost 100% accurately. And we are able to separate, to identify the weeds against the crops so that we can send drones who will pulverize the weeds just to kill them. They can either use thermal, water, or insecticide. This improves the quality of crops. It's also improved the efficiency of the weed disinfection. And furthermore, we extended this into the livestock, that we can track livestock. We can track cows, pregnant cows. We know the time that they will deliver and give good care to the calf. This improved the agricultural output of Brazil, almost 50% higher if it was without AI. In the mining, we have a very good case in Falandaba mine, where we cooperate together with MTN and deploy what we call smart mining. Not only we improve productivity, but also we improve safety. We have autonomous driving cars. We have AI control conveyor belts for ores, where the AI through computer vision can detect the quality of the ores and we're able to grade them easily. We can also use camera, computer vision to detect any anomaly in the machines which are running in the mines. And this improves the productivity almost 25% and also reduce the risk and accident in the mines. And the next step is to connect all these this vehicle in the mine to be autonomous. They will be autonomously driven to avoid collision between these vehicles. This is one of the application of AI. You have all heard of China great progress in terms of electrical vehicles. Do you know which is the leading company in China when it comes to electrical vehicle? I'm sure you know, right? It's BYD. Their sale have exceeded, the sale of Teslas. So BYD has integrated AI into design, into the manufacturing of electrical vehicle. What you see here is one of their AI model. With the large language model, the engineer is able to change, modify the design of the car, and then you see it right there, right in front of you. Like paint the car that you see here in pink color or in yellow color, and the robot will just go ahead and paint the car. Give me the visual of the car that has exploded after an accident. So the AI will produce the video of the car with all the elements that will be destroyed. So this improve the manufacturing, the productivity of the automotive plants, and they are also able to design different parts based on the AI models. While AI is really moving very, very fast. Not only the large language model, we have seen how large language model have improved drastically for the last years. Today, if you use ChatGPT or Gemini or DeepSeek, you clearly see the difference like a year or 2 years ago. And also at the same time, we have seen a great decrease in the cost of deploying AI. You know, the DeepSeek, for example, large language model, will deploy at a tenth of the cost of Gemini and other ChatGPT, for example. So I think this will give a great opportunity for enterprises to develop their own AI. And the good news is, in South Africa, there have been a great rush towards AI. South Africa was one of the first countries in Africa to come up with data and cloud policy. And South Africa was also one of the first to have what we call AI policy framework. There are several AI institutes here in South Africa, and there's also some application of AI here in the country, like the city management. We have some companies, Eskom, they are using AI to lower the line loss during distribution. The mining, like the Fulandaba that I show you, and also the finance system, banking and other financial institutions are using AI to assess risk and to be able to manage risk more appropriately. Yes, deploying AI come with a lot of challenges, many. Some of the challenges are mostly on infrastructure, but what I wanted to elaborate on is these ones. We're going to need high performance computing, but data sovereignty and digital sovereignty, and maybe to a certain extent, we're going to say AI sovereignty are very, very important, and they are very critical. Data sovereignty, we know what it is. Our data needs to be stored within our boundaries. Could be provincial boundaries or national boundaries. Shouldn't be, sent outside those boundaries. Now, digital sovereignty is, in my understanding, is for us to be able to develop our own digital tools. We all know what happened during Ukraine and Russia war, unfortunately. All the foreign companies in Russia, they have to pull out, including Apple Pay. But many Russian citizens didn't know that happened overnight. The next morning, they queue up in coffee shop to buy coffee, but guess what? When they want to swap with their Apple Pay, nothing, because the service is not there. It took Russia time and a lot of money to restore it with a different type of, digital services. This is the digital sovereignty. AI sovereignty, that is very critical. I don't know if you have tried on those large language model just to write, generate a picture or video of a poor family, or generate a picture or video of a criminal, if you have ever tried that, you already know what kind of video will come out, right? Most of those people are brown color people. They are criminals according to AI. This is bias. This is an issue of AI sovereignty. So while we're deploying this system, or we are adopting them, we have to really be very, very cautious and aware of data sovereignty, digital sovereignty, and also AI sovereignty. Okay. So to build an AI system, what do we need? What do we need? Of course, we need data. Data is the core of AI. We have a saying that no data, no AI. If you don't have the data, there is no way you will even think about having AI or using AI or building your own AI. Where is the data coming from? It's coming from you, from me, from all these devices. Hence, we need connectivities. We need high-speed connectivities, ubiquitous connectivities. Everywhere, we need to be connected. Everything needs to be connected. Then we're going to need a storage where you're going to store those data centers that you have heard of, those cloud systems. You need them. And then we need a computing power. Those big capacity chipset, what we call, I don't know, the 1,000 flop per second computing capability. We need them. We're going to need the cloud. And of course, we're going to need the power that will run those things. So these are what we offer in Huawei. I will come onto that later. I'm going to touch a little bit on the cloud, because the cloud is the core of the data. That's where you store your data, you collect it, and then you process it. Huawei has come with an architecture that we call RISE. It's resilient and reliable infrastructure. It has to be innovative and AI ready, has to be secure and sovereign, and it has to be able to support an enriched ecosystem. So for the tech geeks who are sitting there, this is the architecture of the cloud. You can call it a provincial cloud, where you have a security cloud, where your very important data are stored in the security cloud. You have the admin cloud for some admin task, and then you will have your public services cloud. And on top of that, you can see the AI enablement, data enablement, and application enablement. Once you have this, you'll be able to deploy different agents that will help you enhance different industry that you want, just as small as this. Okay. Now to go a bit deeper, we call this reference architecture for intelligent transformations. It starts from the lower level, the devices. You see here, everything is like a device. It could be your mobile phone, your laptop, the different screen that we have, the sensors on the light pole, on the street, on the podium, even your eyeglasses, everything here, the drone, the robots, all of these are devices. This is your first layer. Now the second important layer is your connectivity layer. Here in the connectivity, we split it into backbone. That is the huge optical fiber that cycle the country or the province or the city. We call it a backbone. We use technology like DWDM, which is a very high capacity fiber that can have 800 gig per second of a traffic. You can use microwave, you can use 5G, you have IPv6, SD1, software defined one, Wi-Fi, and then Rocky. So once you have your connectivity now, you need to build a cloud, your data centers. You will have your unified cloud, and then unified data applications. And then you have your application platform. And on top of that, you will have what we call an AI platform, AI development platform. And of course, operation and maintenance, security, and energy. So these are the building block of the digital and intelligent transformations. Yes. This is like a blueprint. When you want to build your mansion, your house, you need a blueprint, where to start with the foundations, where to put windows, where to put your roof. So this is, I'm giving it for free today, only for today. So those who are not here, they will spend millions or billions just to get this blueprint, this architecture. Okay. I just took the liberty to show you Huawei's capability when it comes to AI. Huawei is the only company that has end-to-end capability, from chipset, from platform, and from applications. Do you know any other company who does AI chipset? You know? Yes, of course. I see some hand. Yeah, of course. We have NVIDIA. They are one of the famous, right? So Huawei we can provide the AI data center facilities that you can see here. We have containerized data center. We have prefabricated data centers. When it comes to AI chipset, Huawei has a series of chipset which are built in Huawei. They call Ascent. In terms on the platform, NVIDIA use CUDA, which is Computer Unified Data Architecture. Huawei use a platform called Computing Architecture for Neural Network. This is called CAN. For the AI framework, you have PyTorch or TensorFlow from Meta or Google. Huawei uses what we call MindSport. And then we have something that we call AI Model Art that helps you code AI. Once you have this platform, you will be able to deploy your own AI system, your own model. And then we have different AI models, like all the applications that you have seen previously in education, in mine, in healthcare. All these are deployed on models. So we can use Pango to deploy those. And then we have the digital content. And last but not least is the AI talent. This is very important. We can really use this AI if we don't understand it. And what we want is for us, all of us, to be able to deploy, to code, to design this AI system. Yesterday, there was a panel here, very interesting. One of the panelists mentioned something. We're talking about a digital transformation agenda, but at the end of the day, it's someone else's agenda that we are following. Where is our own agenda? How do we build our own agenda? When it comes to AI, we need to have the talent, the skill to be able to design and develop our own algorithms. So in Huawei, we have developed a series of training. I don't know how many of you here are skeptical about AI, because I heard a lot of people say now AI is not a good thing. AI will take our jobs. AI will kill us. AI will do this. How many of you have this kind of thoughts? No one. Oh, then that's good. Oh, okay, I see. I see some hands are there. Yeah, so we have a course here that we call Mindset Change. This course is just to show you that, no, listen here, AI is not as bad as it is. When people ask me, I say AI is like fire, right? We use it to cook our nice meals. We use it to warm water, to have warm. But if you are careless with fire, it will burn you. So you have to use it according to certain type of regulations. So this is the first courses that we do. We teach people, we let them explore and see the capability of AI, just to change their mind. That's why we call mindset change. The next level is for the tech people, tech-savvy people, to improve their competence, to let them understand how is AI, how they can utilize AI into their business. And of course, the next one is for the innovators. So Huawei has developed this series of courses. Now we have had more than 30,000 industry talent trained globally. We have what we call some AI lighthouse projects, like AI application in many type of industry. We have 50 industries, and we have more than 100 plus environment. And at Huawei, we have more than 3,300 AI talent, from simple developer to high-level concept designers. So I believe the future of AI is very, very bright, and is equally brighter for our province. I know a lot of work have already started towards this direction by deploying good quality network, building cloud. I hope that in a very near future, the AI will be very important in the development of the province. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Wow, thank you so much to Dr. Musa. I suppose as the province of KwaZulu-Natal, it does help to see how we can benchmark with what developed economies are already doing. And I think it must have been slide 3, where he actually made case studies pertaining the sectors that drive our economy. 2 days ago, when we had a pitch by the SMMEs, I do recall there was a duo of the young stars who were pitching a concept of using AI and digital innovation in the farming space. So what Dr. Musa did actually was to give us assurance that with the strategy that the provincial government is working towards implementation, we're not far off. And we really appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Musa, thank you so for that eye-opening and exciting presentation. When we introduced you as a senior executive at Huawei, I overheard a conversation from some of our delegates, hoping that perhaps you were going to bring the latest smartphones just to share with us, so we can see if they are aligned with the purpose of the day. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you do know that from Wednesday when we started, a discussion of this nature is not adequate until we get to engage and hear the knowledge from the people who are already in the sectors. So the next discussion is really aimed at that. And I do hope that looking at the list of panelists, we definitely are going to get insights and experiences from the individuals that will be introduced. So Mr. Sandile Mahlaba, the executive of public sector in KwaZulu-Natal, is going to be facilitating and moderating that discussion. So I'm going to ask that Sandile comes and join us on stage. And together with our speakers, the discussion this time is investing in digital future. So the first panelist is Otibile Keitumetse, the Senior Specialist Profitability and Solution Pricing at Telkom. So Keitumetse, if you could please come and join us as one of our panelists. We also have Brian Gerson, Senior Manager at Durban iConnect. Mr. Gerson, please join us as well. And we also have Sitima Changani, ADM Executive, SITA. So this is the trio of our panelists who are going to be taking us through investing in the digital future. We also have Dr. Bandile Hadebe, the Managing Director at Human Insights. So this is the panel, the panel that will be taking us through. In order to manage time, it's 9:54, so we have between now and 10:15 for this discussion. Over to you, Sandile. Thank you.
Siyabonga, Alex, for a good introduction. For some time I thought Nama was going to be as famous as you are and appear on your show. But again, if you are introducing me here, you must introduce me in your show sometime soon, so that at least we can have this discussion continuing into all the other parts. So, colleagues, thank you very much. So my name is Sandile Mahlaba. I do live in KwaZulu-Natal. I'm a KZN person. I look after Microsoft in this particular place. And Sita is one of my customers. Pumalanga is another customer that I look after. So I wanted just to introduce that particular part. So I've been given the privilege to have a conversation with everybody who's here, pertaining to how are we investing to this transformation that you are doing. So I want us to be clear. The responsibility of this digital future is not government. It's not the public sector or private sector conversation. We just need to own it, all of us. So our conversation today is just to make sure, again, we start ironing up some of the things that are critical on how we are partnering, just to ensure that not only a financial investment is happening, but even our effort and our time and every other skills that we need to develop, collaboratively doing it together. So that is a very critical part. And again, I don't want us to be too clever in a conversation, because somehow we need to understand we are having a conversation in a time when we are all learning and we are all trying to understand what is happening. Because the truth of the matter, with AI and everything that's happening around our lives, it's no longer about how efficiently I can use my computer anymore. It's about how good can I think and how good can I be able to have a conversation, not with myself, not with my colleagues, but sometimes with my machines now. And how can I take the feedback and give the answer that I'm going to be. So the future is looking very interesting, and the future is looking very different from where we started. This is the biggest revolution that have ever happened after computer. So these are all things that I want us just to have a conversation about, to think about, and to understand the element of what is happening in this world. And I always say to my kids, by the way, very lovely bosses of mine, it's no longer going to be about how they can drive the car. It's no longer going to be about how good they can cook. It's going to be about exactly how they can be able to program some of the things that can be able to do this on their behalf. So there's kind of like still some myth about this. We are not talking about digital future that replaces people. We are talking about a digital future that is accommodative and inclusive for everybody. And that is the future that I want us to have a conversation about, so that at least then we're very clear. We are actually coming up with a way how inclusively can we be able to move forward in a digital space, and how are we inclusively investing to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind. Unfortunately, if you read the pledge that was signed by the Premier, it's very clear. It's talking about inclusive, it's talking about not leaving anybody behind, it's talking about crossing the borders from urban into rural areas and make the equation of life using technology. So welcome to my conversation, and I hope all of you, not only just us, will be speaking, but through your mind and through your feedback, you'll be speaking to us, which is the most critical point. So what I will start with, I will ask my panelists to introduce themselves. I'm avoiding a very nice thing that normally happens as a mistake. I don't know when was the last time they've updated their profile. I don't know when was the last time they've updated their CVs. So if I have to use AI to come and get their information, I might miss some of the things that I might have to be able to mention. So I will ask that you introduce yourself. Just give a little bit of background. And again, just a reflection as an opening on this topic. Just generally, what is the thinking and where we are with it. Okay. They call it in the political realm an opening remarks. That's what they're doing currently.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, colleagues, and thank you to the KZN Office of the Premier for organizing this beautiful occasion and event, a summit that opens us into the minds and the thinking of each other. In short, my name is Utibile and surname is Kiitumezi, and I'm with Telkom. I'm working for Telkom, and my responsibility really is to make sure deals happen, to make sure the customer is happy with the price that Telkom comes up with, and also to make sure that Telkom does also make some money. So I'm more of a finance specialist who does modeling, who tries and understand the environment that the customer operates in, so that we can give them the best solution, not just for Telkom or for the price, but for the functionality and for the efficiency that they're trying to achieve through their efforts. Thank you.
Right.
Good morning. So my name's Bryn Gerson, and I work for DB Trade Board, so we're a public sector entity. My my role is a bit of a mouthful. It's Senior Manager DBI Connect. So essentially what that means is that I look after the data center telecommunications infrastructure for DB Tradeport. Those of you that know DB Tradeport know that we're developing essentially a city around the King Shaka Airport. And as part of that, we decided that IT needs to be a fourth utility, along with electricity, water, and sanitation, because we're going into, at the time when we were building it in 2010, well, we launched it in 2010, but prior to that, we were going into this new era that internet services and IT needed to be something that was going to be, as you said, available to everybody and needed to be available to everybody. So that is my role. It's to ensure that we provide those services to everybody on precinct, but we've expanded that beyond the precinct, and I think we'll get into that a little bit more later on, so I won't go too much further than that. I have been in the IT industry for way too long, since 1992, and I have worked through all different areas of the IT industry, from crimping cables to programming databases, to selling computers, to pretty much everything that you can name in the IT industry. So, been here a while.
Siyabonga ma. Baba Skim.
Thank you, Mahlaba. And good morning, colleagues. My name is Sidima Ntsangani, and when I looked at how my surname is captured, I thought maybe it's part of the kingdom's hospitality to give it a taste of Zulu, you know, and I accepted it. It's captured as Ntsangase, I'm Ntsangani. Yes, so I work for SITA. I'm the executive responsible for the applications portfolio, which means the delivery of digital services, including artificial intelligence and also, of course, data analytics, advanced data analytics, in terms of bringing the insights to government for evidence-based decision-making, and also the establishment of various platforms that we have to use to enable the public sector to deliver on its mandate. And Anissa, yes, I'm one of those unapologetic public servants. Yes, I enjoy public service a lot. And to your point, Mahlaba, this is not about the public sector only. This is a collective kind of responsibility between the public sector and the private sector.
Yep.
Because all the assets that are here belong to the entire country, and we should find a way of using these assets to the value that benefits the public. So that's why I feel we're really in the right place, and we really have to have that spirit of collaboration between public and private. And yes, Helen here? Helen indicated yesterday that, of course, the value proposition of the public sector and the private sector are normally different, because private sector is normally driven for profits, and we are for the delivery of the public service. But surely, with the assets that we have in this country, we can respond satisfactorily to both value propositions. So, thank you. That's me.
Yeah, that's very good. And yeah, it is in the kingdom, so everything is possible. It's the only kingdom that really functions as a kingdom. So let's then move into some of the, conversations that we kind of like prepared for ourselves to talk into. So I want us maybe to look at the telecom part, telecom space. And you're doing a very great job around balancing a trade between how much you are costing me and how much you are able to get and returning your side.
Yeah.
I want to just reimagine this profitability of telecom and the way you are calculating your numbers correctly, where the connectivity is no longer just something that is reserved for few and who can afford, but it's something that's spread up and open up. And again, it's essential.
Yeah.
So remember, we are going to a future where connectivity is no longer about me phoning somebody.
Yeah.
It's about my car being able to drive. It's about my fridge able to order things.
Yeah.
It's about so many other things other than just what we are doing today. How does it look like? What do you think in that part?
Yeah. Sure, yeah, it's quite a loaded and quite different themes, depending on, your bias on that profitability versus connectivity. But I think for me, what gives me comfort is if you look at the space where telecom is currently, they've gone through serious pain to be able to be where they are today. And today we see telecom being where people are saying telecom's data is cheap. But if you look at that, if you just inward looking, it's not necessary to say the data is cheap. What it means is there has been a sacrifice, maybe 10 years back, 15 years back. I mean, for example, mobile was birthed around 2010.
Yes.
So by that time, the right decisions were taken. For example, Telkom's network is a data-led network.
Okay.
So somebody had that foresight to say, in 10 years' time or 15 or 50 years' time, data will be the key element of communication, of connectivity.
Yes.
So if you make the right decision now,
Yes.
given that foresight, you are able to enjoy, the fruits 10, 15 years, maybe even your descendants will enjoy those fruits. So that's basically where telecom is. So I'm mentioning that to also say to you that as decision makers, that's very, very, very critical. If you want to transform something, there has to be a sacrifice somewhere. And that sacrifice, unfortunately, you can't postpone it for the future because now you're just kicking the can down the road. The sacrifice has to be today. It's like when you are saving. When you're saving, you're saying, instead of me eating this pie, let me put the money away for my pension fund so that I can have a better life in pension fund. So that's the thinking that we need to think about when you're talking about profitability, connectivity, because eventually it's your internal efficiency that you need to push onto the customer. To say, look, the industry will charge you 5 rand, but I found a magic formula to do it at 2 rand, so I'll charge you 3 rand. So suddenly people think you the magic pill. So it's long-term thinking with immediate sacrifices that you should be comfortable to go through. And that's what's making telecom profitable today.
And I like this conversation because think about it. I mean, if ever the connectivity and the way we're able to do things becomes then a basic line on how human access and how human rights are able to be done, it really needs a very interesting way of thinking about where you want to go.
Yes.
And I mean, the fact around the future, and that's what I think we can learn from what you're saying, is the fact that I'm not trying to think about today. I'm not trying to say, well, pension you used, but I'm not trying to say when I need it at the time, how am I going to be able to get it correctly? But you are actually preparing yourself, sacrificing with understanding where you're going.
Absolutely.
And where the things are going to be in that part. Yeah, Brandon, so you are in a very unique space, okay? Durban Trade, ports, and what you are supplying there, it talks into so many kind of interesting topics. It talks into, the way around the logistics, your smart city part. You're having a very good part around some of the things that you have in that present within the airport and the way you're developing it. And I want just maybe to know, how do we leverage this infrastructure? How do we drive more industrialization? Knowing for a fact that KZN by its nature is an industrialized kind of like driven ecosystem other than just the part around the agriculture part. And again, if we talk about unemployment and the way you can actually spin all this particular part, a backbone of what you are building and the connectivity within Durban Trade port and the Durban Connect part as an idea, it's what can propel how we move forward. And I always say, if I look at the stories, I always congratulate what you have done with actually attracting the new industrialized kind of like ecosystem that I'm seeing there. Mahindra, I think, have just recently come in, and there's Defy. So I think you're doing a good job in actually creating the baseline for all those good industrialization.
They expanded.
Yep.
So actually, funny enough, one of our slogans used to be moving KZN forward. So a lot of our and you spoke about not just the agricultural part, but a lot of our components work hand in hand.
Yes.
And you spoke to the logistics and you spoke to the industrialization. But, we own and operate the King Shaka cargo terminal.
Yep.
We own a trade zone and we do own the agri-zone.
Yes.
And the agri-zone does have 16 hectares of greenhouses, which is the largest facility of its type in the Southern Hemisphere. That is a smart facility, by the way.
Yeah.
And that is a facility that operates on IT smart principles, so the farmers can water their crops from an iPad. If it gets too humid, the window's open. But then you asked how we're doing and using, smart concepts in industrialization.
Yes.
So I mentioned the fact that we built on the principle of using IT as a fourth utility, which means that we own and operate the fiber infrastructure across the precinct.
Yes.
So by doing that, we're able to control the value proposition to the tenants, and we're also able to control the types of, or the level of service that the tenants are getting, which means that over the last 2 years, if not more, but 2 years for sure, to date we've had 100% uptime on our infrastructure. We have 2 entry points into the precinct, and we call them communication zones, which we allow external service providers to come in, and they can provide services to tenants, because tenants don't necessarily always want to take our services, but we provide services as a licensed ICASA service provider. And then we provide access to a data center, actually to 2 on-site data centers and an off-site data center. What that means is that tenants on Durban Tradeport's precinct, and that's manufacturing tenants, all tenants, but including manufacturing tenants, get on net, but true on net. In other words, they don't need to pay for that last mile A to B service to a data center. And then to an off-site data center that's more than 30 kilometers away for disaster recovery. You don't get that anywhere else, and you don't get that in any other manufacturing zone. Okay, which means that you can, as a tenant, get internet services from your leaseor. You can get access without paying the last mile to a data center, access to a DR data center without paying last mile, and you just don't get that. And then you have an on-site technical service. You get access to telephony with free dial to anybody else on precinct. And that's kind of what we're doing to enable that type of architecture and discussion around how you move business forward on site. Now, besides that, we then provide introduction to between the tenants, and then introduction from the tenants to the agri-zone, if necessary, to the logistics, because we own an air road logistics, so trucking business. Introduction from the tenants to the cargo terminal, which we own and operate. And then we're a special economic zone. So if you qualify for special economic zone subsidies or what would you call them? Special economic
wish I can
zone.
remind you.
I can't even remember. But if you qualify as a special economic zone entity, you get those benefits as well. So a huge amount being done, but a lot being done in the IT space for our tenants, and a lot more than is being done anywhere else.
And by the way, just for the context, to make sure everybody follows this conversation, so we speak of your smart cities, okay? We speak of all these clever things that we normally see on papers and when some of our leaders are actually addressing us. But the context here is, how do you set up a space, ring fence it for a purpose, and how do you ensure that you minimize the way you scale, okay? And making sure that the connectivity then becomes the base. Because of course, think about it. I don't know how many of you live in a space where it's a closed circuit, housing. How do you make sure we are connecting with each other in the most appropriate way? So if you're a government official and sitting here, your most important worry sometimes is, it's not about the server, it's not about all the other things, it's about the conveniency of service availability and minimize the downtime.
So,
That's
give it
exactly
that.
what I hear in
100%.
this conversation.
So take it as your home.
There you are.
You live in a gated estate, and I'm going to take it as my home because I
Yes.
live in a smart home.
Yeah.
So take it as your home. You live in a gated estate and they've provided you access to internet services, but they've provided you access to the cloud. Your access to the cloud is free. You have to pay for the internet services, but they've put the fiber in for you for free. All you have to do is pay for the internet services. They provided you access to the cloud for free, but you don't have to pay for all of these big once-off costs. You just have to pay for what you're consuming.
There you are.
They've provided you the ability to phone your neighbor for free. Anywhere within this gated estate you can phone for free. And they've provided you the ability to get to know your neighbors and get to use the services that all of your neighbors do. So the next neighbor is a lawyer. You know your neighbor's a lawyer, and you can use his services. And that's what we're doing.
It's called industrialization as a service. It's no longer about worrying about what you're not supposed to worry about. It's about worrying about what you specialize on, because all the carpet has been set for you to be able to set your furniture on top of it. But Mutangane, you are doing a great job as SETA, and this is exactly your responsibility when it comes to government. Enabling this government of ours, by the way, government is not the buildings, it's not the people, it is really the citizens who actually install government into power and make them to be able to move and to do parts. So you're at the heart of this. And I remember some time ago, one of the ministers declaring during GovTech, we should do very well in most of these particular years, in September or in October, and says to us, we're going to have a paperless government, and government's going to be digitized. So I want just maybe to understand, because I mean, it's easy to talk about this good phrase of digitizing government, paperless government. I want to understand the security behind this part. Compliance. You are the only people who are an arbiter to how government compliance should be kept into. If anybody has to be arrested for doing something wrong with government data, I always say people who can sue us is SETA, because you are actually being tasked and you have a mandate around how provision of network within the government institutions, ensuring that the data is protected and ensuring that everybody comply with what is required. Of course, being powered by DPSA, who do the policies. So I want us to understand, in this digital future and the way you are investing currently and the way you are looking at it, how do you say it? I mean, how is SETA and what are the way of creating this balance within this AI moving world and things moving faster and everybody starting to do things, even bringing your own things into government that are not normal within the ecosystem that you work with?
Thank you again, Mahlaba. You know, before I get directly to your answer, I would like us to outline the terrain and see what we have in our country first.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what needs to be secure at the end of the day. You know, according to the UN e-government index, as a country, we were at number 60 out of 193 countries in 2022. In terms of how we adopted e-government or e-governance. And we moved 20 places, and then in 2024, we were number 40 out of 193 countries. And that means...
It's important. You can clap hands. You're allowed. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say you can clap hands. You're allowed to. You're allowed to do it.
Thank you. That means we are doing well as a country.
Yes.
And that is as a result of the digital infrastructure and digital assets that we have in the country. I mean, there is a lot that is happening in the private space, private sector space. We are fortunate to have a Visa now that has invested
Online,
in data centers in country for, of course, enriching our fintech infrastructure and also financial sovereignty. And we have the likes of yourselves, Microsoft, and thank you for being brave, because you are the ones who brought facilities, cloud facilities in country first, and then the other hyperscalers followed. And now you are talking, all the hyperscalers are talking sovereign clouds. Okay? And then we have Google doing amazing things around cybersecurity with the University of Johannesburg. And we have Durban Trade Port here having facilities amazing to enable the country and take the country forward. We have rolled out broadband in terms of SA Connect to make sure that we connect government facilities, offices, clinics, schools, Of course, we have to get to that last mile to make
Yes.
sure that we take it to the end user. And all these things are part of our digital ecosystem.
Yes.
And we also have the South African National Space Agency that is
Yes.
doing wonderful things in terms of the space hub, also looking after the space sovereignty of the
Yes.
country. Now, all these things are part of the digital ecosystem and they need to be secure. From the SITA perspective, as part of us contributing and participating in this ecosystem, we are assessing the maturity, cybersecurity maturity across government.
Yep.
And of course, we're looking at three aspects, technology, processes, people.
Yes.
And I want to talk to people
Yes.
because that's the part that we have to make sure that we enrich and empower in this digital era. We have to make sure that there is enough awareness, there is enough education around cybersecurity,
Yeah.
building that human capacity also to make sure that we've got local minds and local hands
Yes.
to look after our cyberspace. And the other thing, talking to capacity in general,
Yep.
we have to be so sensitive in terms of creating value chains that are SMME friendly,
There you are.
startup friendly,
Yes.
innovator friendly,
Yes.
because that's where our future lies.
Yes.
I understand now we have offerings that are coming from multinationals.
Yes.
We cannot run away from them because we are not in a mature state yet to have our own.
Yes.
But there has to be an intent in terms of what do we do for the future.
Yes.
And these multinationals that we're working with have to empower the locals, and they have to empower the locals. Of course, we know that the financial empowerment is a need for us to improve our economy and employment. But we also have to talk to intellectual empowerment, where now these startups are not kept as startups, but at some point going to be big tech, which are now contributing immensely on our digital infrastructure. So the part of awareness to the people,
Yes.
it means that we have to teach them around the concepts of phishing,
Yes.
because that's where most of these attacks
Yes.
come. We have to talk to them about business email compromise, because that's where fraud happens in terms
Yep.
of money that
Yep.
gets stolen away from our entities.
Yes.
And we have to do that together with the multinationals, transferring these skills to us. And I'm happy that Microsoft also invested on training
Yes.
about 100,000
A million.
skills on AI.
Okay.
Because now these attacks now are
Yes.
not coming in traditional and
Yes.
conventional ways. They
Yes.
are coming through AI. So we need AI-capable digital workforce
Yes.
that will be working in the cybersecurity space to actually deal with those threats in a way of protecting the country. And in terms of, I want to expand this, Mahlaba, so that we get to sovereignty, because
Yes.
I'm passionate about that.
No, I know.
Yeah. So basically, we always say this digital sovereignty thing is a misnomer. We don't even know how to define it. But I want to contextualize it to 4 perspectives.
Sure.
Software and hardware sovereignty,
Yes.
operations sovereignty, data sovereignty,
Yeah.
and legal sovereignty.
Yes.
And if we look at those and make sure that we are capacitated as a country, and also I went to as far as going to the dictionary definition of what sovereignty is. And it actually says it's supreme authority,
There you are.
supreme control.
Supreme.
So as a country, do we really have supreme control over our digital
Yes.
assets and digital infrastructure? And if we don't have it now, what is the intent
Yep.
for us in the future to claim that sovereignty back? In terms of software and hardware sovereignty, of course, we have to incentivize as government to make sure that locals can be the ones who are building our own chipsets and semiconductors at some point. And then from the operations perspective, yes, we appreciate the fact that we have the hyperscalers investing here, which is a good thing. But now, who is operating those assets? Is it the local mines and local hands,
Yes,
or are we
yes.
still dependent on foreign hands and foreign mines? And I'm saying this all in the context of security.
Yes.
So basically, we have to make sure that we jack up on that. And then from the data sovereignty, I don't think I need to say anything
Yeah.
on data sovereignty. Everyone talks about data sovereignty.
Yes.
Legal sovereignty, we have to make sure that we've got that jurisdiction, that supreme authority on our legislative legislative framework to make sure that that legislative framework is actually preserving the sovereignty of the country. I'll leave it there for now.
Wow. It doesn't hurt, actually. You know one thing, Stima, you are really touching a point on is what make everybody being comfortable about going digital. But I think most of us become uncomfortable, not because we don't trust, not because we don't love, but we are just worried, what if? And I think I love the fact that you are not only just touching on it because you are SETA. I mean, it's been audited and it's being known because yesterday you guys won a cybersecurity award in the industry award during the last night dinner. So we have to clap for that because it's not just a claim, it is there. And I know some of the government departments which are here, they do use some of your technology.
Yes.
They work with you. You are part of the planning that needs to be done. But when you start scaling it into sovereignty, I think the supreme control part is the most important part. And again, it's not about government understanding it. I think it's about citizens understanding it more. Because if ever we can start understanding that, we can then help government to start crafting correctly, what does it mean for me? Sometimes we get mistaken, by the way, just because my salary gets paid somewhere within the same organization, we then being seen as if there will be a compromise because suddenly they might be thinking twice and they might be having a double standard in the conversation.
To your point,
Yes, yes, Baba.
because when we talk about skilling,
Yes.
we always conventionally focus on the digital workforce.
Yep.
And we sort of ignore or maybe omit the end user, the citizen
There
on
you
the
are.
other side. So
There you
basically,
are.
when we look at skilling, we have to look at digital empowering our communities.
There you are.
So that they also are aware of what might be a threat from the cybersecurity point of view. And also educating them and empowering them holistically
Yes.
from them, for them to be able to consume the digital services that we're pushing to them.
There you
so
are.
basically, it's not the workforce only, but also the other side in
There
terms
you
of
are.
the citizens.
And for me, that's the key, by the way, because remember, for any policy to be passed, I don't know if you have participated, because some of you citizens, I don't understand why you don't do this. The government have to issue the paper out. You need to contribute and challenge it. Put your proposal before the president put a signature on it. Can you imagine if ever we now have to be consulting on the sovereignty, data sovereignty policy of the country? If we are not aware what it means, if we don't aware what is at stake. So I think for me it's very important what the conversation is about. It's really educating extensively, even beyond what we see, and ensure that it's available democratically and everybody's able to digest and work with it. And I'm just going to put a little note of it because I work for Microsoft. So that's why we are actually training 1 million people in the country and committed to the president about it. Because if this AI is becoming so much of a reality of it, we need to do a little that we can do. I think 1 million is the little we can do. And everybody else, if they put it into the same pot, everybody can expand and begin to hold part of it. Now I want us just to drive it home. Let's drive it home a little bit. I mean, we can talk about all these good things. We are sitting in Etegwini in the CBD. We are sitting next to Hilton Hotel. We're in ICC. And everything looks good. The lights are up. The network is working. If I go to Nkandla, if I go to Emahlabathini, it's a completely different reality. And this is going to be a cut across kind of a question and the thinking. It's nice to talk about these things from the comfort of where we are. How is telecom? How is Dube, iConnect? How is, SETA is thinking beyond the boundaries of comfort? Because we should be very admissive to the fact that it's not okay yet. And that's why the Premier made all of us, as soon as the hit were equal access, in that particular, what they call it, the reading, he wanted all of us to read and commit with his signature together. How does this reality is being dealt with in telecom? How are you dealing with it within the way you're thinking iConnect? How are we thinking about in SETA? Equal access, equality using technology, and ensure everybody is not being left behind as we move on.
Okay. No, thank you, Mr. Mahlaba. As Telkom, I think we are uniquely positioned because we are not only a South African company, but we are a company that is owned by South Africans.
Yeah. Wow.
Your PIC, the government, they own more than 54% of Telkom. And as such, we do have a deliberate mandate to help the government to include as many participants as possible within this digital bubble, within this digital framework that we are talking about. And if you look at some of the things that we are doing, we have a program called Future Makers, which where we say we go to the streets, we look at young minds, people that have done their matric or people that have entrepreneurial ideas, and then we bring them back to Telkom and we incubate them so that we can see some of the ideas that they have come to fruition or come to being solutions. And as such, if you look at our ecosystem, some of the solutions that we go to market with, they are the solutions that we got from these young minds that we got from the streets. So that's a very powerful way of looking at how you're empowering the country or the youth, and at the very same time, you are trying to make sure that in every touch point that you are, especially in the rural areas, there must be a telecom infrastructure, must be a telecom building. So that's why that's what we positioned as Telkom, try and include as many people as possible in this digital inclusion topic.
And the next one?
So we're slightly different from the rest of the panelists on the podium, in that although we're a public sector entity, we're not a national public sector entity.
Yes.
We're effectively owned by EdTier. So our responsibility is economic developers in economic delernement. That said, we do offer learnerships, and I specifically work with learnerships and learners coming through the tertiary education. So we have 2 people coming through into my division that are needing 6 months worth of training in order to finish off their degrees or diplomas. But in addition to that, and that's as an organization-wide thing, but in addition to that, DBI Connect specifically has a program called our reseller program.
Okay.
So I spoke earlier to what we do for the tenants.
Yep.
What I didn't speak to is what we do from an off-site perspective. So from an off-site perspective, we have 2 different types of programs. One is that we work with external developers, so in other words, developers that are surrounding our precinct, and we extend our fiber onto their precinct and extend our services onto their precinct. So that, from an enabling the infrastructure perspective, ensures that the data center services and the telecommunications services are extended onto that precinct, and they get the exact same service that our tenants get. But in addition to that, we have what's called an SMME program. So it's a reseller program that takes IT resellers and gives them the ability to take our services and on-sell them to the public, primarily into companies. So they're able to leverage the DBI Connect data center services, telecommunication services, and build their own cloud platforms. So where previously they were not able to operate as small entities or micro entities at the same level that a large Microsoft or a larger entity was able to operate at, they are able to operate on an equal platform, not necessarily a Microsoft equal platform, but a larger entity. So they can take what we've invested and all of the money we've put into building our own data center and go out and sell it as if it's their own data center and be on an equal platform. In addition to that, we provide training, and where they're a micro entity and they qualify, we actually provide additional discounts to that service.
Bob.
From the SITA side, Mahlaba, we have erected cyber labs across the country. I can confidently say every province has a cyber lab that was established by CETA. And
I have to accept that, I agree, yes.
And we established them primarily at the schools so that young people can have access
Yes.
to this infrastructure.
Yes,
In terms of educating them digitally, empowering them digitally,
yes,
and also in terms of giving them a platform for them to express their innovative ideas. I always say the citizens know the problem statement better than us. For us, sometimes to understand the problem statement, we go to Google and try to find out what is happening. We do some research. They don't need to do research. They live the
They
problem
live, yes.
statement. And they know the solutions that can respond to those problem statements. So basically, we're erecting this cyber. And of course, there is a broadband that is coming, and that's why we always advocate for the last mile now so that they get to the device.
yes.
And also, I know government has got aspirations of one device per household.
Yes.
That's a very big aspiration, and I think we need to get to that.
Yes.
Of course, we have to control it because we know the diversity of our country.
Yeah.
And when each household is connected, I'm talking rural now, I'm not even talking Sentin.
Yes.
When each rural household is connected via a device to broadband connectivity or internet, then the world is open to them. They are international citizens virtually. They can do virtually anything. So basically with these cyber labs that we're establishing, that's the intent. Those cyber labs are used by the learners themselves and also by the community members. And now we are saying, let this broadband connectivity get to the households and let each household at least own one device. And then we see how wonders we can achieve as a country.
And what wonders could it be? So for me, it's really, really very important to really imagine this world, because I don't think if most of us were born in the 60s, 50s, or 70s, we ever thought we would be where we are today. It's actually very interesting to see where our kids are gonna be in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, in 30 years' time. And that's a digital future we're talking about. And I want just to really putting my closing marks on this to say, just remember when you started, it hasn't changed. The responsibility of how we are moving to this future, it's seriously not about the government, it's not about the public sector, it's about individual citizens being able to participate and being part of it as it changes and is moving forward. I want to thank my panelists for volunteering some of the information and being able to talk into this part. But I want us to maybe, because it's a KZN provincial government in the kingdom of the Zulus, I want just to challenge some of yourselves. I mean, I put myself too in this challenge. We need to start capturing the numbers of the impact. And we need to be locating it where we're making the impact. Because I want one day when Helen or when, the Office of the Premier through their Information Innovation Hub are plotting the map, I want it to be very clear that when you're making the impact, we are able to look at the pins and being able to say, you have gone to Ulundi, and I know Steam have got a data center in Ulundi, and it means you're already there. And you have gone to all other areas, and you are really touching the part. Because our political leaders and our church leaders combined, they are accountable not only to what they do, but to what we empower them to do in all the time. One last thing, Alex. If ever, Alex, you hear that a house of a councillor is burnt down, or if ever you hear there's a service protest delivery protest they call it, you must never think about why. I will provide you the answer. Because us as a private sector and some of other people who are employed by public sector, we have failed to inform the councillor in time and help him to make a correct decision and ensure that there is a clarity on how they can improve service delivery. Because councillors and everybody else, and every president involved, they are not decision makers for fun. They are decision makers because we empower them. So our responsibility is really securing and developing the country by using our skills and how we're getting paid to make sure that we empower our principals to do the right thing. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for volunteering to come here and be here to educate us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Wow, thanks to our panelists and the facilitator for a job well done, Mr. Mahlaba. Let's give them another big round of applause. Thank you very much. We are at 10:50. Yes, that's our time. 10:40, 10:50. Yes, so we'll take a comfort break and we will resume again in 10 minutes. So if we agree that we should be here again at 10:50. So you kindly requested to grab coffee or tea, and we also have the exhibition hall where we're being asked to network as we enjoy our coffee and tea. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll resume again at 10:50.